Don't even think about buying or investing in your first commercial real estate property without watching this video first. I'm gonna help you avoid so many pitfalls and bad decisions in this one quick video. If you've been asking yourself how to get started investing in commercial real estate, and this is the video for you. And I'm gonna cover how my team done $1.6 billion transactions over the past few years, help my clients make or even save an extra millions of dollars across all of them combined. As last week alone, I saved one client over $375,000 on one deal alone. And I'm going to show you exactly what to do when your first deal moving forward in 5 easy steps. Number one is going to be understand what are your goals. Are you more of an active investor or passive investor? What I mean by that is, as an active investor, you're probably going to buy underperforming assets. Think Class B, C, or even Class D. You're going to go in them and improve either OpEx or CapEx, which is going to be the infrastructure or the operations. And from there, you can then force equity to make more money quicker, resell it, refinance, up to you. This is an active investor. You're kind of flipping commercial properties. Now you have a passive investor. This is buying mostly Class C and Class A and some Class Bs. Now from there, you're just looking at cash flow. This is from retail, multifamily, storage units, list goes on. It is just a passive cash flow strategy. Now a lot of work on your end, that is the goal. So that's the number one question to ask yourself, which kind are you? Up above, a whole thing that breaks down for you more detail on active and passive investors for you. Then from there, understand what niche are you targeting. There are 5 main categories of commercial real estate and dozens of subcategories. So we go into this thing, you see here, this is on Crexy. If I remove this here in Texas, there are 31,000 opportunities to invest in. I'm here in Austin, Texas. And number 2 on our list, if you need help with buying or selling real estate, then just call me down below, link in the description, no obligation. That'll be your next step there. But all jokes aside, within reason, we want to look at all the different classes. We have retail, again, think banks, think convenience stores, think Dollar Generals, Ace Hardware. These are retail stores that actually does print money for a lot of investors. You have multifamily. This is your student housing, apartment complexes. You have offices, you have industrial, which is also pretty popular right now as well. Hospitality, self-storage, which is super, super easy first-time investment for most people out there. Mobile home parks, special purposes, think golf courses, think churches, think car washes, even think hotels. Then from there, you have business themselves, because as a commercial real estate investor, you're also investing in businesses depending on what niche you're part of. Now, once you decide on your first couple of niches you want to go into, then from there, it gets a lot easier moving forward. Now, I will say caveat, I think the best niches to do as a first-time commercial investor here in Austin, Texas, or anywhere for that matter, I mean, multifamily, because it's not much different than single-family houses. You have RV parks, you have industrial and retail, and of course, you have self-storage. Those are probably the easiest ones to do when you first start off. Up above, I have a breakdown of the top 5, in my opinion, different options and more detail for you on this as well. Now, let's just say I want to do retail. To apply retail, I'm here in Austin, Texas. And when I'm looking at this, if you're still beginning, you probably should not invest outside of your backyard. What I mean is, if you live in Austin, Texas, you want to stay in the Texas triangle. So you have San Antonio, Houston, and Dallas. If you are a super savvy person and like I don't mind traveling, maybe the whole state of Texas. Now, if you're brand new to this, I would not live in Texas and invest in New York or California or Oregon, because it may be kind of hard to manage. And I believe the first deal you do really dictates the rest of the deals moving forward. So stay within reason of your proximity. Now, let's say we're looking at this as an option. This is step number 2. Understand your numbers. When it comes to commercial real estate, numbers are everything. Unlike residential real estate, where it's pretty houses, easy comps, floor plans, not the same for commercial real estate for the most part. Here we're in Houston, you want to know what is the NOI, you want to know the cap rate, you want to know your cash on cash return, you want to know your IRR, which is your internal rate of return. You want to know your DSCR as well, which is your debt servicing coverage ratio. Those are the main numbers that really matter to you as an investor, and how much you can put down, and all the things as well. So I have a whole video breakdown for you, more context and more detail up above, all things underwriting from A to Z on how to do it for yourself with nothing left out, that some gurus probably charge 5-10K for, free for you up there. But for easy math film, NOI is your net operating income. This tells you how much money do you have after expenses before debt coverage. Debt coverage is going to be your loan amount, more on that pretty soon, so save for that. But you want to know how much are you making, how much are your expenses. And this gives you a really good rule of thumb. Like for this example here, NOI is almost $800,000. I divide 800K by 9.1, and I get 8.74% cap rate. That is a pretty solid cap rate. Above a 7 is pretty good. If you're above a 10, it's an amazing deal, depending on why it's that number. If it's like super run down, then it may be hard for you to recoup your income and fix it up. But it's know what are you investing for. And on that point too, kind of back to the first sector of knowing your goals, the higher the cap rate is, more often than not, the worse the property, or it's at a major discount. So just keep that in mind. If it's a 5% cap rate, that means that it's probably Class A, and it's just a cash flow machine for you. If it is a Class B, it had an 8-9%, you probably need to stabilize it and make it a good investment. So just keep that in mind moving forward. Now, also, a lot of commercial brokers may tell you that it's a 9 cap or 8.74% cap rate, but they're not giving the full picture. Is that pro forma? Is that projections? I want to know exactly the actual numbers. So when that is the next question for us is, you want to ask either the agent or ask me if I'm helping you do these transactions, what is the T12, which is your rolling 12-month kind of P&L? You want to ask, what is the cap rate, the true NOI? You want to know the rent rolls, the bank statements, the lease agreements as well in place. And those are probably the major ones to look into. Once you have all that data, you can now make an informed decision and start your true underwriting on the transaction. So normally they give you OM, which is offering memorandum. This is the property here. You'll see about the property, some highlights. They tell me the NOI is this, price per square foot. Here's the cap rate. Now, this is a really basic one. Obviously, I want to know more stuff. It says gross rent is $870. Then you have expense reimbursements, because it's triple net. So you have taxes, insurance, and CAM. CAM is going to be your maintenance in the area. So it means that the tenants are paying for all this for you, and then they reimburse you at the back end. So now you know it's $1 million that you're making per year in gross income. Now I subtract this from my expenses, and it gives you my NOI of $800,000. Now this is nice, but I want to know the rent rolls in more details for the past 12 months. I want to know anything it has for OPEX and for CAPEX and delayed maintenance. All of these things make a massive, massive difference. And also, I want to look at this property on boots on ground. I want to see the map. I want to have my little Google images and Google Earth show me as well what's happening. All in all, it looks like a pretty solid investment. I am wondering why it hasn't sold yet, because it is a 200 days on market. It has a 9% cap rate. it is a pretty solid deal. Maybe it's just people are afraid that Houston has a low market for strip malls, so not buying into it. But again, those are when you ask yourself. Now, after step 2, which is understanding the numbers, our next major step from here is gather your team. Your team consists of one, your real estate broker, which is hopefully me in this case. If you want extra help support, down below, link in the description. Call me directly and help you get the best deals and or sell your deals as well for the highest price or save you more money when you invest in commercial real estate. And your full-on guide all for free. We get paid on the back end from all different transactions. Number 1, that's your broker. Number 2, have an attorney. So your attorney can help you with your LOI, your PSA. So backtracking, LOI is letter of intent. PSA is pretty much your sales agreement. Your APA is your asset purchase agreement. So when you're buying it, those are your 3 main forms. You want to know LOI, you want to know your PSA, and your APA. This lets you buy commercial property. More often than not, you start off with LOI, and then you do your PSA, and then afterwards, if the property is not value high enough, then you do APA. So it's a quick caveat there for you. Then from there, you start your whole process. On that side, is your attorney and your broker helping you do that. You also want to make sure you have a good CPA in line to make sure you can do your financials, make sure there's going to be a good tax write-off for you if that's the strategy, and also just make sure they help you protect your asset through LLCs, holding companies, and more. Then from there, you'll make sure you have a good contractor. And for this property here, it is a pretty turnkey set for you, but there is probably some things you need to have in place to make it even better. So having a contractor in place helps a lot. You also want to make sure you have somebody who's boots on ground with you or for you in that location. If it's in your backyard and you live in Austin, Texas, like I do, and you invest in San Antonio or Houston, who do you know can help you down there? Make sure this deal can be super smooth for you. So that is your team. Now, our next step, which is going to be number 4, is funding. Now, funding is also part of your team too, but there's more steps to it. So number 1 is your lender. It's part of your main team, but your lender can take place in different ways. One could be a traditional lender that is through a mortgage company or through a banking company that helps you purchase assets. Now, commercial real estate, unlike residential real estate, you're mostly going to be doing a DSCR loan that values the property more than you. That means that the whole goal is to make sure that this property can cash flow and pay for itself. And the goal is to have a 1.2 minimum more often than not on your DSCR, meaning that you make 20 cents for every dollar you spend on that asset. So in that property above, you're probably having a DSCR of like 1.4 based on quick math that you're looking at the numbers. This is a good investment for you. Now, on that point though, you also can do an SBA loan, which is a small business loan, and that allows you to do a 10% down payment on a property. Now, typically what happens though is that you're probably going to have 2 different loans in place. One loan is going to be for your PSA, so actually the asset of the property. And loan number 2 is going to be the APA, which is an asset purchase agreement for the business itself, if it's not high enough valuation on the appraisal for one another. When that happens, we have 2 different loan structures going on. SBA is 10% down. You may also have a different structure when it comes down to your other down payment for that property itself. Now, of course, talk to your lender. You want extra help and support. My link's down below. He is amazing. Email me. I'll send you information for you totally for free. No strings attached and no obligations. And then from there, you have more options. You can do hard money. You can do private money. You can do a bridge loan, a gator loan. All these are different strategies for you to get more capital with less money out of pocket. Now, a gator loan pays for the earnest money. This is 1%. A bridge loan pays for the 10 or 20%, sometimes 30% that you may or may not have or want to not invest yourself personally into the property. And of course, you have your main loan. So you can really buy properties with no money down Just make sure, in my opinion, you have some money in the bank to kind of weather the storm, unless you're doing a working capital add-on into your property. You also have a capital stack. A capital stack is through other partnerships. Are you a GP or you an LP? This is general partnership and limited partnerships. This could be you are the person in sweat equity and you have a friend with lots of money and they're just the hard money loan person for you or the private money loan for you that gives you the funds to buy this property with the agreement more often than not that you will run it and they'll pay for it. That's going to be 50-50, 70-30, up to you how you want to structure that. You also have options like syndications, which is similar to what this mentioned before, but normally it's a bigger team. It's like, hey, I have 100K, you have 100K, you have 100K. Let's come together and do a syndication and pool our money to buy a bigger asset at better returns. So those are the main ways that you actually invest in commercial real estate with your funding team. And then the last one, you want to submit the offer. And submitting the offer is as it sounds. You want to say, hey, me or your other broker or yourself, I'm giving you an LOI, letter of intent, to buy this property. And then after you guys do your due diligence, there's no money out of pocket during that sector. But as soon as you do your PSA, which is your official purchase agreement, that is when you have earnest money and you actually start doing due diligence, walking the grounds, looking at the property, and so forth. Now, if you're first starting off, I would not aim for some super, super big property because it is more work than you think it would be. Start small, and scale up. Maybe $1 million, maybe $500,000. I have a whole video that breaks down up above that it's not as expensive as you think to invest in commercial real estate. There's some deals out there that are $100,000 at cash flows day one. Keep that in mind, more than the house does. So don't let that deter you. And if this was helpful for you, down below, smash the like button, tag your friends, use the share. Who do you know that wants to invest in commercial real estate but feels stuck? Send them this video. And of course, you want extra support over here. A whole video that breaks down A to Z, even more detail in this one on how to actually do your first transaction and do more commercial real estate. Literally A to Z, from underwriting, from the whole 9 yards, what to use, contracts, everything. All given to you. Down below, there's a whole playlist to give you all things commercial real estate. And of course, want extra support, again, down below, call me directly and help you the best deals out there, or sell deals as well, with all help of my team. But as always, thanks for watching. Have the best day yet. I'll see you at the top.